these windows, these big, beautiful windows that have been a lot of work, a lot of research. We've spoken with so many suppliers all over the world and had crazy, outrageous, ridiculous prices for quotes and estimates for getting these windows done, and prohibitively expensive. It's not hard, it's not easy to have windows this size made, and the original windows, which we can still do, is actually quite a bit taller. So it would go from here, where the top is here, all the way down to the bottom and have this whole area open, just be one big huge window. So that's a design we can still do, because this section in here, this band, that is actually on our molds, that's removable. So we can take this out and make this one big window. So that's an option we still have, and we can do that anytime. It's just this is an easier one to start with, and it's hard enough to do as it is. The solution we've come up with does this job very nicely, so we can actually make the larger one. It's just going to be another production to make the mold for it, and it's a pretty big, it's a massive size window. So the window here as it is, so we're going to show you the molds, what we've been doing for the top mold here, for the top window here, and then also we have the side section here. So we have the we take the computer drawings and we plug it into a program that cuts out the blocks of foam, basically, and it makes the exact shape that we want to create, and it cuts it by, basically it uses like a router to cut out the shape of the window, and then that shape is smoothed and refined. Here's another view after it's been much further along in the processing. So this has a special material over top, and then we start to work it and tool it down to a more of a window, finished mold that we can use to make the actual windows. So this is like super smooth, and this is the surface that's being used to make the resin material that goes over top. So it's got to be super smooth and reflective, and has all the properties of a nice, beautiful piece of glass window that you would normally be used to looking out of. So that's the top bedroom section right here, and I'll show you a few things on this side window section here that we're doing as well, which is here. So this is the computer drawing, and here it is. It's actually, you don't really get a good idea of the size and the sheer scale of how big these pieces are just from this computer drawing. But and even from here, like, this doesn't look like that big of a window, but it's, when you actually have people working on it, it's a very large, sizable window. So that's one angle, and that's, once again, that's the that's cut out foam, and that's, I don't have any other pictures queued up for this, but basically you can see the step-by-step progression of how these are done, and it's a huge, much bigger of a project than I thought this would be. It's just really hard to buy curved glass off the shelf, and glass is really hard to do curved, and resin is hard to do as well, but it's easier. There's also a limit to how tall glass can be. Like, we wanted to have a big glass window, like actually made of glass material, and there's no glass material that can be this tall and not break, because it's just too large. So it would be very, very fragile at that size. Maybe there's some special materials that NASA has that exist, but for practical cost reasons, there's just nothing that's reasonable and affordable. So this has been about a 2.5-year research project, almost 2.5 years to get to this point. And then, of course, the final step is to put a tinting on this window, because when you're on the water, you have the sun coming through the windows, but you also, not just direct sun, but you also have reflected sun from the water, because the sun reflects from the water into the windows as well. So you need to have a good tinting, and we will have, I think it's called gunmetal blue. It's a blue color tint, and can't wait to have the windows finally complete. So right now we have the top window in production. Actually, I think we should have one ready to be shipped out to our location, and then we have the sides done, and waiting for confirmation on the bottom window, which is a little bit larger, well, actually quite a bit larger than this window. And this one's also more complex because it curves around not just one axis like this, but it's curved around this axis as well. So that's a very tricky mold to make, and it's a very large window. So there's your window update.